And we welcome you back to our continuing live coverage of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Hartford, Connecticut, the venue right now. It's the last 45 minutes of the group stage. The U.S. and Costa Rica tied up at zeros. Heather Mitz, Eric Winalda, Warren Barton, Rob Stone back here with you just moments before second half action. If you're Jurgen Klinsmann in the locker room, what is he saying?
I think he would want more movement from his front pairing. I think with Landon and Wondolowski, and I want, if you like, Stuart Holden to influence the game more. I think at the moment he's playing it safe, he's playing it simple. That may be lack of fitness, but I think I want to see him more, Heather.
Well, I saw him at the very end. You know, obviously he's getting pretty fired up, so I like to see that, and I think that he will come out in the second half and play a lot better. And
Wando also knows that the clock is ticking, and that in those kind of scenarios, you know you have guys on the bench that want to play, you want to get that goal, got to get a goal, come out with you much more aggressive.
But I think what they've got to do as well, utilise the left-hand side. We've both said about the joy that they're getting down there. I think from that point of view, they have to do that.
Second half action just moments away. Let's send it out live right now. Grant Wall standing by with Jurgen Klinsmann. Gentlemen.
Jurgen, you started Sean Johnson over Nick Rimando tonight. What went into that decision, and how is Johnson doing?
Well, obviously, Nick is our #1 for the Gold Cup, so the only time we can give Sean a chance to play on that level was this game, and I think he's doing really well.
What sort of substitutions are you considering in the second half?
Well, we're trying to break them down over the flanks, so maybe sooner or later we're going to give Edgar Castillo a chance, or maybe break Shea, just to choke a run on the right side, because that's where they eventually, hopefully, give us some chances. They're very compact with 5 in the back line. Very well organized, as we know, so it takes a lot of patience to break them down.
Back to the studio. Thanks, Jurgen.
Grant, thank you, and our thanks to Jurgen Klinsmann for taking the time to join us live. Kobe Jones, JP Dellacamera, standing by with the second half call, guys.
Thank you, Rob. Underway in the second half, and we will see what changes may take place. Jurgen Klinsmann indicated maybe some substitutions later and where they might be. So we thank him for sharing some of that insight with us. USA in the blue and white, sending it forward, intended for Wondolowski. Morehead clearing it. Discarud off of deflection. Costa Rica moving it to the right. Johnson. And that's knocked out of play. Carlos Johnson with his throw-in. Holden takes it back. Do you want to see more from Stuart Holden as well? Second half, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see Stuart Holden be more aggressive. And by that, I don't mean just by his passing, but his movement with the ball. I'd like to see him sometimes use his pace on the dribble, take players on, maybe not directly trying to dribble 2 to 3 yards where he can get tackled, but into space so you move that midfield around a little bit.
As Klinsmann said, tough to break down Costa Rica the way they're playing defensively. He wants them to have some patience. They had some of that in the first half. All the way back to goal. Sean Johnson playing in a meaningful game. So Klinsmann indicated there in that interview, Rimando's #1, so you would expect Rimando goes back in goal for the quarterfinal match, and that this was the only time to give Sean Johnson the game.
Yeah, Coach Klinsmann knew that this would be the opportunity where there would be some chances from Costa Rica, and also the opportunity for Sean Johnson to step up and have to organize the back line, because they would be a little bit more aggressive and create more chances than the previous opponents. See, just a little bit of a forearm by Discarud. That's probably what was called by the referee right there.
Early moments here in the second half. That's Patrick Pemberton, part of that shutout streak for Costa Rica. It was 704 minutes coming into this. Add another 45 to it. Parkhurst up the wing, and that goes out of play. Roy Miller will take this throw in. Miller can play a number of positions for Costa Rica. We've seen him in a few of them during World Cup qualifying. This one goes the other way. We heard what Jurgen Klinsmann said. He's wearing your number, by the way. 13.
I like that.
A tribute?
Yeah, I think so. He's giving a tribute to me, a little shout out.
We heard what he said about substitutions. You wonder about Costa Rica. Saborio sitting and watching, and he's been their best goal scorer for several years. Right side, Bedoya. Knocked out. Throw in USA.
You have to imagine at some point that you're going to see Sabarillo coming in and Barantes for Costa Rica. Those are the two players that can really create chances and opportunities for them.
Long Diskerud throw in. It bounced dangerously. Then Pemberton got hit by Wondolowski. And Pemberton's going to stay down for a little bit. Wondolowski a little bit frustrated by that.
And Pemberton's going to milk this. It's just a little incidental contact. Wondolowski comes in and just gives him a bump. And you can see Wondolowski's frustrated. He didn't mean anything by this one. As the ball bounces over the top and then Wondolowski comes in, just a couple of hands into the back, really. And this is where a keeper tries to, get a little sympathy from the referee to make sure that he calls anything that happens.
So far, with Pemberton still down, Wondolowski's had a quiet game. Hasn't had much service, though, but still, as Eric Winalda was saying in the studio at halftime, he knows. If he looks over the shoulder, Herculez Gomez is sitting on the bench. You've got other young players on this Gold Cup roster like Will Bruin and Jack McInerney, but you have other players as well that are not even a part of this Gold Cup roster that are ahead of Wondolowski in the depth chart.
Yes, time is running out for Wondolowski in this situation, and what he's got to do is maybe he has to come out of his comfort zone a little bit. He's got to make sure that he has those chances at goal. And we see right here, there's the little bit of contact, incidental contact, and I think Pemberton's just milking that. But Wondolowski, if he's not getting the service, maybe he's got to move out wide and make the game happen, make the game flow through him a little bit. That's what Jurgen Klinsmann will look at, because everybody has a game where things aren't quite going the way you like it. You're not involved as much as you'd like to be, so you've got to go and find the game a bit.
Pemberton is back up and ready to go. Now the ball is deep in the Costa Rican half. U.S. will double team with pressure. Bedoya knocked it out. Throw in Costa Rica for Miller. On the sideline right in front of Costa Rican bench. Costa Rica will take over with Cunningham, give and go. And he was taken down by Parkhurst. A couple of players are down. Tab Ramos on that U.S. bench, the head coach of the under-20 team in the World Cup.
You see right there, just a little bit late.
It's a great experience for Tab being on that full national team bench. Former teammate of yours?
Yeah, former teammate. I think he's done a good job in finding players where I don't think anyone expected players to be for that under-20 team and during the World Cup. They had some good results, probably not everything that they wanted, but I think that we found some potential players for the United States in the future.
Tough group, wasn't it?
A very tough group.
There's that last bit of contact. Beasley was involved in it. 52nd minute, USA and Costa Rica. Zeros on the scoreboard. A draw will give the group win to the United States in Group C, and they would beat El Salvador and Baltimore on Sunday. Draw or a win. Costa Rica needs to win the group. Parkhurst into the middle. Donovan picked it up, got tripped up. Free kick, U.S.
Amanya can shake his hand all he wants on this situation, but you see he has full contact with Landon Donovan, just comes right across and fouls him there. Good call by the referee. You always got to wonder with players in those situations where you fouled the guy and then they look up and go, no, I didn't do anything.
Haven't you done that?
Not me.
No?
Never.
You're the exception. Donovan will put this down with Torres. A free kick opportunity for the U.S. Donovan in his 9th year with the Galaxy, 13th in MLS. Floats that one up there. The header is wide, but I heard a whistle before that as Wondolowski was trying to free himself for a header.
See right there, Wondolowski maybe just half a step off sides right there.
Don't miss out on quarterfinal action this Sunday, July 21st in Baltimore, Maryland at M&T Stadium. Tune in to see Honduras take on either Costa Rica or the USA. And the winner of Group C will meet El Salvador. Tickets still available at www.goldcup.org. This is Donovan trying to get the USA on the scoreboard. Sending it wide left. Torres tried that first ball. And it's going to roll out off a deflection. Still belongs to the U.S.
What a good job by Costa Rica. When Donovan wins that ball and cuts inside, they step up, pulling Wondolowski offside, and then 4 or 5 players close down quickly on Donovan, making it difficult for him to find any type of connection for a 1-2 on the pass.
Bedoya cutting, beating Diaz, got it inside, and Wondolowski missed. But he's getting more looks in this half. That's a good sign. The bad sign, off target.
Well, a great opportunity here, as you see Bedoya having success down the right side on the wing. We talked about this. This is where they're going to have that. And then the cross. Very good cross. Low, hard, pulling it back. And Wondolowski just gets under it. These are the opportunities where he has to do a little bit better, because as you play better teams, you're only going to have 2 or 3 chances. It's not going to be like those previous matches where he's had 5 or 6 chances going to goal.
Stuart Holden, long ball attempt. Out of the box is Pemberton. He's left the net empty. Did he handle it outside the box? Campbell's going for a card.
It's got to be a red card. It's got to be a red card.
He handled the ball outside of there. And this can change the game. Yellow. And we'll have to see that again, obviously. Let's see what the contact is going to be. Was it for a foul? He hit his own guy. Oh, if he handled it there, is it?
You see right here, he uses it. He's outside the box, obviously.
That's red.
And he saves this goal-scoring opportunity with his hands outside the box. This has got to be a red card. The only situation I could think is that there is a man behind him going towards the goal, but you've got to think this has got to be a red card situation.
He handled it outside the box. Just a yellow for Pemberton. That ball didn't hit his hand. He played it.
Well, he definitely played it. That was an intentional handball, goal-saving handball. And justifiable situation right here from Jurgen Klinsmann. He's got to be upset. I'm sure he's had a few words with the 4th official on the sideline.
Now a yellow to... Why did Cunningham get a yellow? What could he be complaining about? He's lucky his goalkeeper's still in the game.
To say the least.
An important free kick now. Diskerud and Torres. Torres will get it over the wall. Pemberton made the save. There's a rebound for Donovan. Best chance of the night. And normally, Donovan's money from there.
A great opportunity. I'm almost at a loss for words on that situation. You usually see Landon Donovan with the ball bouncing right there have a clean strike at that. It's just like he mishit it. He rushed it a little bit too much. Probably didn't realize he had as much time as he did.
This is Donovan on the touch. Takes another. Back for Diskerud. Stuart Holden, 11 in the blue and white of the U.S., and he gave that ball away. Umanya clears for Costa Rica. But the game is starting to liven up here.
It's livening up, and Umanya with that ball hitting that out, that really just gave them a little bit of a breather. And we see Torres with just a little bit of a chip. A great save by Pemberton. Just knocked that down, and Landon Donovan frustrated, knowing that he could have done better with that one.
Donovan's getting more involved, though, here in the second half. And you would think that would be a good sign for the U.S. in trying to break down that Costa Rican defense.
That's a great sign for the U.S. because when Landon Donovan's on the ball, naturally the defense is going to say, okay, we know who this player is. We've got to put extra numbers. So he's going to draw 1, 2, sometimes 3 players, and that will open up other players where he can connect with his passes.
Holden left it for Diskerud. Tapped all the way back. The Goodson feed. Too far. Donovan made the run. It was right up the middle. Patrick Pemberton, who plays for Alajuelense, put it back into play for Costa Rica. He'll drive this one way upfield. Too high for anyone in the red, white, and blue. Tejeda was fouled by Diskerud.
Tejeda really draws this foul. He knows that Diskerud is coming in, so he puts himself in between the ball and the man and really does a good job of just taking that foul from Diskerud.
Diskerud is now cap-tied to the United States. Could have played for Norway before, but that full international against Belize means that he's now on that USA squad officially.
And you got to be happy with that because he gives a lot of energy in that central position.
Off of Roscoe in the air. Diskerud had played in other games, but they were friendlies. They didn't count towards being cap-tied, and Holden gets called for the foul. And a yellow card to Stuart Holden. And more importantly for Costa Rica, this was set them up in a good spot for this free kick.
And here's another situation. Holden definitely comes in. I don't know why he's screaming to the referee that it's not a foul. He blatantly gets the man and knocks him down. But this gives a good opportunity for Costa Rica on the set play. One of the few set plays so far.
Celso Borges. He'll drive it, and that's over the bar. I've seen Borges score from distance. Has a terrific shot. Didn't see it really that time.
Borges has good connection here. You see the wall kind of breaks up for the U.S. there, but he does a good job of just driving the ball. He doesn't try to chip it. He just goes with power.
Anything changed for you, Kobe, here in the second half? We're beyond now the hour mark.
I think things are still going the same way. Things have opened up just a little bit in this second half so far, and I expect it to open up even more. As soon as the substitutions come in, probably in the next few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to see this game. It's going to pick up the pace, I'd imagine.
Arrieta has been up there by himself for a good portion of the night. Cunningham has been playing off of him. If Arrieta comes in, that could be a dynamic strike force for Costa Rica, assuming Arrieta stays in there. Torres leaves it. Holden to the outside for Beasley. Not mentioning Beasley as much here in the second half. First half, he was controlling that left sideline.
Yeah, Costa Rica shifted their defense a little bit to kind of slow that down. They paid attention to what Beasley's been doing, and now they're opening up things a little bit more on the right side. I think that's why you're seeing Bedoya have a little bit more success on the right wing.
Kept alive there by Holden, stepping up. Donovan twisting and turning, trying to get away from Tejeda. Donovan stays with it, got it forward. Wondolowski wide, tackled away by Gonzalez. Over to Rodney Wallace. He'll bring it up the wing and clear it. Gave it right back, though, to the U.S. DeMarcus Beasley kept it on the ground. And the foul was called. Offside instead. No foul.
And Landon's walking back, and he's just about a half a yard offside. And that's a good save by Pemberton, and Landon has a great opportunity there. Seems like the ball bounces up just a little bit too high, and so he rushes it trying to get that shot off.
Stuart Holden forced back. Orozco back for Holden, formerly with the Houston Dynamo. Goodson. Back to Orozco. Sending it long. Beasley's after it against Johnson. DeMarcus stays with it, keeps possession for the U.S. Played back by Torres, Discarud. Sending it inside, intended for Wondolowski. Bedoya with a high foot. And that's going to be a dangerous play anyway with Miller down. While we have the opportunity, let's go back to that yellow card that was controversial on the goalkeeper, Pemberton. We have Dr. Joe Macknick with us. Dr. Joe, why was the color of that card yellow, not red?
Well, I tell you, according to the laws of the game, a goalkeeper has no special privileges when he leaves a penalty area. And if he handles the ball deliberately, and obviously he did, otherwise the referee would not have whistled for the foul for the handball. It's a send-off offense if the referee deems it to having stopped a goal or a goal-scoring opportunity. But it's a yellow card offense if the referee deems that it only prevented the ball from going to a teammate. So that will be the referee's out on this one.
Yeah, but your thought, red card, right?
From what I see on TV, it looks like a shot on goal that was saved by the goalkeeper outside of the penalty area.
Thank you, Joe. So, in agreement with us, it seemed like it. Red card.
Well, I don't think that was a pass to somebody standing in front of the net.
No, no. And this is a good official, a very respected official, Courtney Campbell, but he gave a yellow instead of a red. We disagree. 65th minute, another player down on the field. Still zeros on the scoreboard. It's Roy Miller, who was hit earlier with the high foot of Bedoya when we went to that replay of that controversial yellow card. This is the one time you can coach in the game when there's an injury and you can bring players over to the sideline. And it was Pinto talking to Junior Diaz, who was more effective as well in that first half, same as Beasley. Not as effective here for whatever reason in the second.
Yeah, I think really a lot of the wing play on both sides. I think both coaches at halftime said, look, we got to try to shut that down. So you see the Costa Rican defense slowing down Beasley, and the same thing with Diaz. He was getting up and down on the left side. So now that takes away a little bit from that flank play on each side. What a great save by Pemberton on that, just to get up. Uses his leaps to get up there and just knock that down. I think Donovan had a great opportunity there, and I think he's going to be frustrated when he sees that he could have done a little bit better.
Well, the training staff has come out. We may see a change for Costa Rica. Neither team has gone to their bench yet. That was the first play. They've got Miller.
The high boot right there, just into the, it looked like in the face, but he's grabbing his chest there.
Yeah. Let's see what Costa Rica does right now. They'll play with 10. Diaz will have a throw in. U.S. will get it back. Bedoya. Stuart Holden. Sending it all the way to Beasley, but it's behind him.
You see, in that situation, I'd rather see Stuart Holden take the ball aggressively forward on the dribble. He has the speed and the pace. You know, he needs to be more aggressive in attacking that Costa Rican midfield and defense.
Tejeda's pass to the right. Johnson. Borges. It's better from Costa Rica, working others into the attack. Diaz, we just saw Miller back on the field for Costa Rica. That was him on the last touch. Ball almost given away. U.S. could have broke. They still might. But Bedoya, that was a hard collision with he and Diaz. And judging by the crowd reaction, this goes badly for Bedoya.
Diaz goes down early, and Bedoya does come over a little bit on top of him, and that's what the referee sees, where he gives the call for Costa Rica. You've been seeing a battle on that side between Diaz and Bedoya, and you're going to see that continuously through this second half, because that seems to be where the success is coming from for the U.S., so they're going to keep feeding Bedoya all the time, try to test Diaz out.
Miller is going to be coming out, and Christopher Meneses will come in. Another player who plays in Europe for Nokaping. You know, when you were playing against Costa Rica, most of those guys, I would say, played in the domestic league. And now you see a lot of players from Costa Rica playing in Europe. So that's a sign of how far they've come as a soccer nation.
Yes, indeed. And it also a sign, just in general, the respect that CONCACAF gets now. That teams from all over the world are looking at CONCACAF for potential to try to bring these players up and better their squads. You know, over the past years, it's
Fly went up. And Cunningham.
Over the past years within CONCACAF, you've seen a lot of players just moving overseas into MLS. You know, it's great. You know, it brings up the level all the way around and only helps the region.
This was an easier call to make. Cunningham. Back to live action. It is Orozco in the ball. The winner of this group meets El Salvador and Baltimore on Sunday in the knockout stage, quarterfinals. Whoever finishes second in this group meets Honduras Sunday. That's also in Baltimore. 3 players over after that ball on the sideline. Torres questions the decision. Jurgen's still mad at that yellow card on Pemberton.
And you can see you're not seeing
That's nothing there.
You're not seeing the calm Jurgen Klinsmann right now. With the decision on Pemberton, and now he feels like some calls are going against him. You're going to see Jurgen Klinsmann up on that sideline having a go at the 4th official. Maybe try to get a little bit of love from the referees.
Got to forget about the calls and play the game. Those calls go against you, sometimes at the wrong time, the worst time at a World Cup. You still have to go through it and not get frustrated by a call that's missed. Parkhurst pushing it back. Orozco.
I think every team at some point thinks that some calls have gone against them. So it's really about how you react to those calls. Can you put that behind you? Can you step up and continue to play the way that you've been playing, follow the game plan, and find success?
Costa Rica has another sub up by the 4th official. That's Osvaldo Rodriguez. Getting ready to be their second sub. Back to Sean Johnson. Getting his first starting goal for the U.S. since January. With Nick Romando getting the night off.
And on the right side of your screen there, you see the numbers that Costa Rica had back. 5 in that back line. Playing very safe defensively, allowing the U.S. to really pass the ball in front of them.
The ball has passed to Meneses. Cunningham waits. Meneses overlaps. It's going to go out for a corner. Last touch by Bedoya.
Costa Rica is very content to let the U.S. pass that ball in front of them side to side. What they don't want any direct balls really going up to the forward and then back, because that's when they have to step up and kind of throws them out of position a little bit.
So Osvaldo Rodriguez is going to come in, and it's Rodney Wallace's number that's posted up. He will be coming out. Second sub in the books for Costa Rica. USA yet to go to their bench. Ready for this corner kick. Costa Rica's third. It is Borges. And it looked like Johnson got at least one hand to it as it was cleared out. Holden may have helped as well. It's another corner for Costa Rica.
And this is good by Johnson to make sure that he comes out, but it looks like it's cleared by Holden. Holden's the one that clears it out. Johnson coming out, trying to control his box. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive in that situation.
Borges, back post area, cleared by Diskerud. And that ball's going to go out for another corner kick. Another corner kick. Another corner kick here for Costa Rica, and an opportunity to get on the scoreboard first. As Johnson sets things up for this scoring opportunity for Costa Rica. Driven in low. He's off Gonzalez. Comes back out. Tejeda. Still going to be a throw in for Costa Rica. Let's go to Grant Wall on the sideline. Who's warming up in East Hartford?
Yeah, U.S. about to make 2 substitutions. Breck Shea coming on and Hercules Gomez about to come on. So got a little indication of that from Jurgen Klinsmann earlier at halftime.
Thank you, Grant and Kobe. We'll see how that impacts the game. He talked about that earlier. You know, Gomez is going to play up top, but also Shea now most likely wide left. Here's that last play.
An easy call for the linesman. Find the player offsides by a couple yards.
Costa Rica moving it ahead with Rodriguez pass. It's going to be tackled out. Both sides think it's theirs. Belongs to the U.S.
And you've seen since Costa Rica has made the 2 substitutions that they've been a lot more aggressive and starting to get a little bit more of the play. With the U.S. getting their substitutions in eventually, you're going to see probably that change a little bit for them, especially with the addition, if it is Herculez Gomez that comes in, trying to get over the top of the Costa Rican back line.
Torres, Beasley, those guys will bring in not just fresh legs, but you would assume some fresh ideas as well. And I see Saborío up for Costa Rica, so they may be making their 3rd and final change momentarily. That's the way it appears. The USA has it in their half. Whoever comes in for the U.S. is not going to get an awful lot of playing time, maybe 15 minutes if they do it very soon. Less if they don't.
And Costa Rica's doing a very good job when they sit back with those 5 players defensively, just closing up the passing lanes. It's what Jurgen Klinsmann mentioned at halftime, that they are very good at keeping the spaces very tight. 5 in the back and then 4 in the midfield makes it difficult for the U.S. to break through.
The 2 number 9s are up by the 4th official, by the benches. Gomez for the U.S., Saborío for Costa Rica. And now Breck Shea is also up for the U.S. Carlos Johnson. Cunningham. Johnson's on the wing. That's cut off. Tejeda blasting it forward. And no trouble for Sean Johnson. The 24-year-old goalkeeper got it to Diskerud. 76th minute, still zeros on the scoreboard. A result, though, that will give the USA the group in Group C. They'd finish in first, and they'd meet El Salvador in Baltimore Sunday with a draw or a win. Costa Rica clears upfield. And the U.S. got it back, and then a clip there, and a card, too. To Arrieta.
It's just a silly play by Arrieta in this situation. No need for a yellow card where you just go in, the ball's gone, not nearby, and you just have a little whack at the player. Maybe a little bit of frustration on his part. He's been a bit quiet today, hasn't done a whole lot for Costa Rica offensively.
4th booking, and Parkhurst and Wondolowski are out. Breck Shea, Herculez Gomez are in. And now I see Jose Torres has come out, so can't be Parkhurst. Parkhurst is still out there. It's Torres that's out.
Yeah, you expect a straight swap with Breck Shea going in on the left-hand side for Torres. Torres had a bit of a quiet night as well. So Shea's going to try to give a little bit of that width, a little bit of that power running that we know that he can do. He just needs to have a little bit of a better game than he had in the last one and try to be more aggressive going forward and be precise on his passing.
If anyone needs a big game or a big 15 minutes or so, it's Breck Shea for the U.S. He's on the chase now. Shea's best days were with FC Dallas. Went to Stoke City, hardly played. Now he's got to get involved with a new manager in charge of Stoke City, so he needs not just a big game here, he needs a big year to get back. He wants to go to Brazil in 2014. Shea in the air, and that goes out. The U.S. will have it. 78th minute, still scoreless from East Hartford, Connecticut. And Saborío will be the 3rd and final sub for Costa Rica for Jairo Arrieta. But the most dangerous man, probably, in terms of a score for these two teams, is now on the field.
Saborío coming in is such a danger. He's such a quality player. He's going to be up top. He's going to be one that now that Costa Rica can play into. He's going to try to hold the ball and then bring in the rest of his teammates through the midfield.
Diskerud fires, and there's no rebound there from Pemberton. Meneses for Costa Rica. They've made their 3 subs. U.S. still has 1 in their back pocket if they want it. And we see they do have a sub up. It's Joe Corona, who has been a starter in this Gold Cup. Started the last 3 games, 2 in the Gold Cup and the Guatemala friendly, and scored his first goal in a USA jersey versus Cuba. Shea, cross inside, cleared out. Beasley tried to get to that ball, got beat, but he has the speed to recover and knock it back. Goodson. Beasley coming back, nearly handled that ball. It's back to Orozco. Stuart Holden drives that ball right, and Bedoya got bumped by Meneses, and we're going to see this 3rd and final sub for the U.S. in the 80th minute. Bedoya's coming out, Corona's coming in. Let's go back to Grant Wall.
Yeah, guys, just wanted to note Stuart Holden will be playing 90 minutes if he stays in the game now for the first time for the U.S. since 2010. Jurgen Klinsmann giving him opportunity to test his endurance tonight in his comeback. Back to you.
I think, Grant, that's a good point. That's significant, Colby, because they built him up first, what was it, 45 minutes, I guess, in game 1. And now they're building him up, and he's not had a particularly strong game, but he's been allowed to stay in.
That's important that they're going to look at that. That's knowing that he can survive 90 minutes at a pretty good pace. We see there just maybe a step offside. Right there for Shane. We see Diskerud's shot. Well, good save by Pemberton.
How do you measure Holden's progress? It's got to be, it's not big steps right away. It's got to be baby steps, I would think, right away.
No, it's not. It's not big steps, and we've talked about the fact that he's making a comeback, and he's tired of hearing that word comeback. He says that he is back, but it's really about him just getting his sharpness and trying to take it to the next level. That's what's important for Holden right now. And we know that he has the quality. It's been there. It's just, can he play for 90 minutes? Can he lift up his game to the level of where it was before? And that's where the tests are at, and that's what the coaching staff's looking for.
Meneses with a throw in. Knotted down, thought by Orozco last. Yes, it's a corner for Costa Rica.
This is where Costa Rica gets much more dangerous when you have Sabarillo in this situation. He's the one that you want to look for. Who's going to be marking him and make sure that these marks are tight. And we saw for the U.S., this is where they struggled a little bit. Is off of set plays, just a little bit of...
Borges, back post area, the header, big save, Johnson. There's still a loose ball in the box. U.S. has to deal with that, and they finally clear it out. Best save of the night for either goalkeeper. Right there, Sean Johnson. Upfield, can the U.S. convert at the other end? Donovan for Shea, walking into the box. Shea's shot, he scores and the U.S. leads. Shea from Donovan, but you gotta figure it all started with Sean Johnson in goal.
That's a big save from Johnson that leads to this fast break, this counterattack, and a great ball by Donovan. Seeing Shea breaking down the left side early on, puts the ball in front of him so he doesn't have to break stride. And Shea, you know what? How happy is he right now? He slides that ball right by Pemberton, has the good touch to settle it down, looks up with a quick glance, and puts that right over the top of Pemberton where he can't save it. And what a difference. You know, what a difference a day makes here for Shea right now. Having the goal, you know, maybe that puts a lot behind him from that performance from the last match.
In his 20th game for the U.S., he gets his first goal. But that looked like the Breck Shea from FC Dallas in his better days. He knew what to do. Good run, good finish.
Well, excellent run. It's a lot of that power running that we like to call it from Breck Shea, where he's just pushing the pace. No one can seem to catch him, and Donovan with a brilliant ball into space for Breck Shea, where he doesn't have to break stride, and Shea just finishes it off.
Started with a Sean Johnson save. He had some help from defenders in clearing that ball upfield, and then Donovan on the breakout, a perfect ball to Breck Shea, and the U.S. has a 1-0 lead. And it's the first time that Costa Rica has given up a goal in this tournament, and the first time in the last 8 games.
Since they gave up a goal too.
Clint Dempsey.
Yep, Clint Dempsey in the U.S.
In the snow. Johnson will clear it. Collision right there with Diaz and Donovan. USA on top. Assuming this result stands with 9 points, Costa Rica would finish second. Cuba, good for them with a win over Belize, and they're going to advance to the quarterfinals. That's the way things stand right now in Group C. It's the final day in group play. A and B finished up in the last couple of days.
Well, that was a great job by Cuba. Really put an end, though, to the Cinderella story of Martinique.
Yeah.
You know, now they're jump in.
Right?
Now they jump in as the Cinderella story, indeed.
It could have been Haiti. Haiti played pretty well in this tournament for the results that they ended up with. As Jurgen Klinsmann looks on, his team is up by a goal. That shutout streak went almost 800 minutes for Costa Rica. In the 85th minute, the USA with a 1-0 lead. It's been their tightest game so far in the Gold Cup, as expected. Cunningham, far side. It's going to be played back to goal to Sean Johnson. He'll left-footed ahead, not close enough to the halfway line. Gomez got a touch on it, not enough. Tejeda for Borges. Celso Borges coming back. Borges holds, trying to float that way in. Beasley got the first ball brought down. That was an attempt by Rodriguez. He couldn't get it.
And there's the great save. There's just a little fingertip touch. Saved by Johnson. Then you see the fast break and the great ball by Donovan. And it looks like Pemberton actually got a little bit of a hand on it there, but not enough to save it. It goes the way of the USA and Breck Shea off of that counter attack, off of the corner kick.
Couldn't tell when we saw it live, but the save that Sean Johnson made was on Carlos Johnson in the air. That's the difference in this game, the Johnson save and the Shea goal. As the USA right now is in control of Group C. They would meet El Salvador in Baltimore on Sunday in the quarterfinals, the knockout stage. Remember, you can make up to 4 changes. It's a strange and crazy, and I would say unique rule in this CONCACAF Gold Cup. You have 24 hours after this game ends to make up to 4 roster changes from a pool of 35 players that you had. So we'll see what teams will do.
Well, I would have to think for Coach Klinsmann that he's not going to make any changes unless there's injury. You know, it doesn't make sense to bring in these players to have a look at them and then all of a sudden make changes towards the end of the tournament as you're starting to get into the more crucial stages of this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Warren Barton was making those comments in the pregame. I think you've got all your guys together. They've all been working for the one common goal. The chemistry has probably been very good. So why change it now? This is their tournament for these players. But I wonder what other teams might do. I mean, what if Mexico makes 4 huge changes, just for argument's sake?
Well, Mexico, I could understand making some changes because there's a lot of pressure right now in the coaching situation where you might want to bring in, if there's the talk of Mexico must win this whole tournament or the coach is gone, you know, the coach might step in and say, hey, I'm going to bring in some new players that can give me that extra boost to lift me to the next level so I can make it to the final and win.
USA leads Costa Rica 1-0, 88th minute from Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut, on the final day of group play in the 2013 CONCACAF Gold Cup. This one goes against Meneses. as Holden was the recipient of that hit from behind. Donovan to the outside. Parkhurst. And that's knocked away by Meneses. Michael Parkhurst with a throw-in for Donovan. Diskerud. Parkhurst back for Donovan, who assisted on the Breck Shea goal. Parkhurst trying to square it. Shea. First touch fails, and Costa Rica comes back right up the middle. Could be dangerous. Tejeda got slowed down there by both Shea and Diskerud, and now Donovan has the ball. All the way back to Sean Johnson.
And we know Shea doesn't have the best right foot, but in that situation, a ball coming on the ground across the face of the across the face of the top of the 18, have a go. Have a go at it, you know, see what you can do. You might surprise yourself, and that right foot could do something special.
'90th minute. All the U.S. needed was a draw to win the group.
And even though the Costa Rican players on the side look disappointed, they have to realize they're still going through to the next round and start the preparation for the next match.
Ball bouncing forward. Joe Corona brings it down. Tries to return it. Diskerud on the turn. Double turn. Got it back outside to Corona. Holden. Parkhurst. All the U.S. need to do now is just possess the ball. Played wide by Beasley for Breck Shea.
And the U.S. will be very content to do just that. Possess the ball. Not too concerned about going forward, going to goal. Just kind of run out these last 3 minutes, you know, and move on to the next round. You know, if it ends like this, they're happy to be at the top of the group.
Clock has struck 90. 3 minutes minimum will be added on here in stoppage time. Michael Parkhurst sending it down the sideline. Not close enough. Donovan and Corona were in the neighborhood, but not close enough to the ball. Junior Diaz with a throw-in. Costa Rica's been unable to find their late sub, Saborio, since he's come on.
Well, right now, Costa Rica's just having a tough time getting a hold of the ball. They can't even put together 4 or 5 passes. And it's got to be frustrating for them, but this is good for the U.S. This is how the U.S. should be playing, I think, a lot more in the game. Closing down the spaces a little bit sooner, making it difficult for Costa Rica to find the man up top. You know, they have this. They win the ball in the midfield, and then they could counter very quickly.
Meneses took it away, finding Cunningham on the run. Knocked down by Parkhurst. He may get a card. He is going to get a card. 5th booking of the day.
Just a tactical foul by Parkhurst, making sure that he clips the man, takes him down so he doesn't have the opportunity to go one-on-one to goal. It's very tough playing catch-up in that situation to try to get in front of the man, so you just clip him. And he's willing to take the set play in this situation. Now, once again, we saw the U.S. struggle a little bit in this off of the last play, but it did lead to the counterattack goal.
A whistle before that ball was struck. And Campbell is coming in to make sure everyone stays calm.
You expect this ball to be driven on target towards goal, then with players just rushing in to create chaos.
Borges, it's there, but Johnson was also there, with Saborio making the run in front.
And that's exactly what you want to do in that situation. Put numbers in front of the keeper and make it difficult, but it does a little bit of a deflection, it looks like, from Breck Shea off his own head, but Johnson does a good job standing his ground and just smothers it.
He's looked poised. He hasn't had to be all that busy tonight in goal for the U.S. He's given a good account of himself. Corona pushing it back. Oh, he gave that ball away in the dying seconds of the match. Holden tries to recover. Instead, it's Meneses. Looping ball in. In the air is Saborio going forward. Now a quick turnaround shot blocked to come straight out. Borges to the outside. Meneses. Seconds left in this one. Johnson was coming out, grabbed it, spilled it, and got it back. And that could be it. Waiting on the final whistle from referee Courtney Campbell, and we have it. U.S. with a win over Costa Rica, and they also win the group. It was Breck Shea in the 82nd minute, the only goal of the game after a big save from Sean Johnson. Landon Donovan helped it with a great pass. Kobe, your thoughts on the 90 minutes?
This was exactly the way we expected this game to go. We knew that Costa Rica would be the toughest matchup for the U.S. and that they would play very defensively. We saw the U.S. be patient, and eventually the goal came. Still, the only criticism is still off of set plays. They're still giving up opportunities, though they got to be happy that off of the counterattack came off of a set play, and Breck Shea stepped up.
And finally, a shutout for the U.S. after giving up a goal in each of the last couple of games. That was against Belize and Cuba. So they win the group. They will meet El Salvador in Baltimore on Sunday. And the games, as we all know, get a lot tougher starting with the knockout stage as we go back to Rob Stone.